Can't believe it's been so long since I was able to sit down and watch Mecha anime without my brain being preoccupied with other things such as Foldabot speed builds, event coverages, and everything else that I consider to be side quests to this main channel of mine. The last video digest I made and uploaded was way back in April 7, 2023, which was literally a few days before I started the whole speed build series. I honestly could have taken time to pause the speed builds and post at least one new video digest every time I finished a Foldabot combiner set or a toy book marathon, but I just couldn't do it. I literally couldn't divide my attention towards the speed builds in any capacity whatsoever, and that's why it took having to finish the speed builds in order for my mind to be cleared of any distractions on making video digests again. And so now, let's get to the meat of the video, which is the actual Great Mazinger episode that I want to talk about today. Episode 46 of Great Mazinger is titled Fighting Spirit Until My Life Burns Out. It introduces two new characters named Dr. Hamakawa and his son, Yoichi. And if you've watched enough Mazinger Z and Great Mazinger, or have watched any of my past video digests on Mecha anime, then you know that new characters being introduced in each episode usually, if not always, end up having tragic endings literally by the end of that same episode. And that's exactly what happens to Yoichi in this story. Yoichi is a young kid that's obsessed with getting strong. He idolizes Tetsuya and tells him that if he could beat Tetsuya in a boxing match, that he should get the chance to pilot Great Mazinger as soon as remotely possible. Tetsuya entertains the boy's dream and visits him for a boxing match. Yoichi punches Tetsuya multiple times with all the strength he has, but Tetsuya just takes each hit with an unfazed expression. That is until Yoichi lands a punch on Tetsuya's face and tells him that he's being unfair for not taking their boxing match seriously. Tetsuya, upon hearing this, squares up and starts truly unleashing his strength towards Yoichi. He lands a punch on Yoichi's face multiple times. Each time, the boy falls to the ground, gets himself back up, and is sent falling back down with the next punch that Tetsuya unleashes on the young and stubborn boy. Yoichi reminded me of a similar young and stubborn kid from another anime series called Attack on Titan. Eren Yeager started out as a hard-headed loose cannon of a boy who stood his ground against bullies and adults around him and was determined to slaughter every titan in his path, even with just pure determination up his sleeves and the lack of actual talent or skill on his side. At least, that's how he started as back in the first few episodes of Season 1. Yoichi is a stubborn kid who cries at the end of the boxing match and runs back to the house, leaving Tetsuya there with Dr. Hamakawa. Yoichi's father tells Tetsuya that there's a reason for Yoichi acting that way, but we don't get to hear it yet because Tetsuya has to fight the monster of the week for that episode. Great Mazinger faces off with Battle Beast Solgos, and we get to see Tetsuya struggling to find a way to beat the Battle Beast he's up against this time around. He hides in cowardice from the Battle Beast and tries to escape his control pod by smashing the glass. He fails to crack it all the way through, and the butterfly finds its way into the control pod. Tetsuya lets the butterfly out, thinking to himself that he envies how small the creature is and how foolish he was for admiring larger and more powerful things when he was younger. The Battle Beast eventually lifts Great Mazinger to its flaming head, and we see Tetsuya falling into a fiery abyss, only to wake up in cold sweat back in the Science Fortress laboratory. June tells him that something went wrong with the Battle Beast and that he was lucky to have survived that battle. Tetsuya puts his hand to his face, struggling to keep himself together. He rushes out of the infirmary, and Kenzo Kabuto finds him having a mental breakdown. For the first time in a while, we see Tetsuya fear for his life. As Dr. Kabuto explains it, he is possessed by the fear of death, but that it was only natural for him to be that way, what with such a narrow escape he endured a few moments ago fighting that Battle Beast. Yoichi and Dr. Hamakawa visit Tetsuya in the laboratory, and here's when Dr. Hamakawa reveals the truth to Yoichi's determination to get stronger. Turns out, Yoichi was exposed to a sudden burst of radiation when he visited Dr. Hamakawa's lab one day, and that because of this, he has but little time left to live in this world, with no hope of recovery from the extreme radiation. Despite all of this, Yoichi puts on a brave face, is full of life, and is in no way even close to being afraid of death. Tetsuya reflects on this, seeing that the kid right in front of him somehow found a way to face the struggle of his life by bravely enduring the fear of death and fighting back. And as he reflects on this, Yoichi faints and is sent to a hospital room. He tells Tetsuya to beat the battle beast that he faced and that he'll also keep fighting for his life as much as he can. Tetsuya, with now renewed conviction, goes out to fight the Battle Beast and eventually finds a way to defeat Battle Beast Solgos. He returns to the Science Fortress laboratory but finds that Yoichi had passed away before he could say goodbye. Tetsuya kneels beside Yoichi's lifeless body, tears falling from his face as he tries to shake Yoichi awake from his eternal slumber. Jun slaps some sense into him, saying that before Yoichi died, he said that he was sad to be going away but hoped that Tetsuya would live in his place. He runs off and screams at the top of his lungs, seemingly calling Yoichi an idiot for his idealistic outlook in life. But that was obviously just him letting out his hurt feelings into the world. Watching this episode made me remember why I love the mecha anime genre. For such an absurd and campy story setting as giant robots fighting giant monsters, every now and then we get served the kind of episodes that break from the mold of the Monster of the Week episode formula. Be it through self-aware enemy robots who turn out to have minds and hearts of their own, enemy robots that use sorcery or witchcraft to up the stakes on the danger level our protagonists get to face, or something as simple as having a character who inspires the hero to be better by just showing or being that kind of example for the protagonist. Yoichi was a nice character to have in this episode because of how he affected Tetsuya in the story of the episode. In spite of knowing that his time in this world is even more finite than most people, Yoichi faces it with sheer willpower and the determination to get stronger, which is why he had multiple sketches and drawings of Great Mazinger. Because to Yoichi, Great Mazinger is the embodiment of great strength. He believes that if he can pilot Great Mazinger, he'll be able to face absolutely anything, maybe even his impending doom. And this is why Tetsuya was so moved by him, because Yoichi possessed what is commonly called the indomitable human spirit, an axiom that expresses the power of human will and perseverance against the indifferent cruelty of the universe. Like Eren Yeager, Yoichi faces the world with blind determination and sheer will. He is not afraid of death because he knows and accepts that death is just around the corner and can come for him at any moment. To quote the famous Alexandre Dumas, "I do not cling to life sufficiently to fear death." And so, one must do the same in theirs. I'm so excited to be back making new video digests. There'll be more to come, for sure, and I'll be covering all sorts of other topics, like tokusatsu shows and movies, as well as other animated shows that feature giant fighting robots, such as the Transformers franchise and Mobile Suit Gundam. Like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Hit the bell to get notified for when another video comes out. Hit the join button to become a member and gain early access to future content and members only videos. This is Elmo's Universe, and I'll see you in the next one.